From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Good morning, this is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Tuesday, February 17th. We start off our show this morning with you live with some breaking news. LFR is responding to a fire right now in North Lincoln. So it's limited details right now, but here's what we have from Public Information Officer MJ Learman with the Lincoln Fire and Rescue Department. Right now, a unattended fire pit behind a home off of Huntington Avenue, and pulling up the other intersection over here, North 47th Street. So around that intersection of Huntington Avenue and North 47th Street, an unattended fire pit in the vicinity. And right now, LFR is just working on scene with this. This is actually within that just unfortunate but perfect conditions for a fire watch that we currently have active right now, that I was going to tell you about before we got this update this morning. And this is just within the past 10 minutes here that we are getting this from Lincoln Fire and Rescue. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this. But again, just in that area of Huntington Avenue and North 47th Street, just try to avoid the area while Lincoln Fire and Rescue works that scene. Again, it's an unattended fire pit. But that being said, we are in that season where there is red flag warnings across the state of Nebraska. Plenty of areas from Waverly as well as the Omaha Valley area, Hastings, North Platte. These areas are just places you're not going to want to have fires, and there is a fire ban for some of these areas as well. So Unadilla, as we have said this morning. So again, this is one of those things where we're continue to keep track of the current fire LFR is managing, but we are also in these perfect weather conditions this morning where there are burn bans in effect, and you do not want to be having any fires going on as we speak. Again, that fire in North Lincoln will continue to keep you updated on that situation as we work to learn more information this morning for you. But that being said, let's just jump right into our headlines for you this morning with our top 6 stories from the morning. Our first one, sad news just coming in this morning. Civil rights leader Reverend Jesse Jackson has died at the age of 84. In a statement, Jackson's family says he died peacefully this morning. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2017, and Jackson dedicated his life to pursuing civil rights in the United States and abroad. Jackson worked closely with and marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He later went on to run for president in 1984 and 1988. Jackson had 6 children, 5 of those with his wife of 60 years. Now jumping into some more local headlines for you this morning, and happening today as well in the legislature, state lawmakers will be hearing arguments on a bill that tackles when ICE agents are allowed to enter Nebraska schools. Now, under LB 1034, school staff would not be allowed to let federal immigration enforcement officers inside our state schools without a judicial warrant. It was introduced by Senator George Dungan of District 26. The debate is happening in the Capitol at 1:30 this afternoon. We'll be sure to be there, so be sure to stick with us at 1011 Now, as well as our website and on Roku, and we'll be sure to follow on how both sides are arguing around this bill. Your third story, and from last night, Nebraskans for Medical Marijuana finishing up its latest statewide tour, hosting a series of town halls, hoping to explain the current state of medical cannabis in Nebraska. And last night, the group made its final stop just right here in Lincoln. Group says despite medical marijuana being legalized in 2024, the rollout hasn't been easy, and they're concerned Nebraskans still don't have access. Executive Director Krista Eggers spent the night explaining challenges the group has faced in getting medical marijuana to people who need it, including court cases, battles in the legislature, and now the Medical Marijuana Commission. She says many of Nebraska's leaders are still opposing the drug that more than 70% of voters passed.
The people spoke. Lawmakers and our governor and our attorney general and our U.S. state senators, they are not doing their job. People elected them to be there to represent the will of the people, and that is not what people think they're getting.
Also making notable appearances last night were former state senator Patty Pansing Brooks and current U.S. Senate candidate Dan Osborne, both sharing their support for access to medical marijuana. Egger says moving forward, the group will continue advocating wherever they can and keep hosting more town halls. Your fourth story, and in our crime tracker this morning, a man from Tennessee is in custody after a lengthy pursuit through eastern Nebraska over the weekend. State Patrol says troopers tried to stop a driver on Highway 6 in Gretna just before 7 on Saturday. Driver was later identified as 42-year-old Juan Avant. Police helicopters from Omaha and NSB tracked the car for over an hour as it sped onto Highway 92 into Saunders County and then turning south toward Lincoln on Highway 79. Eventually, Lancaster County deputies used stop sticks to end the chase. Avant is now facing 5 different charges. We're going to throw things over to sports here with a big game tonight. Now, with a loss to Purdue and a win over Northwestern last week, Nebraska is moving down 2 spots in the AP Top 25 poll. Huskers now sit at number 9, but this is ahead of their road matchup tonight against conference rival Iowa. For Husker standout Bryce Sanford, he will be in familiar territory. Sanford spent 2 seasons with the Hawkeyes before transferring to Nebraska. In Saturday's game against Northwestern, Sanford notched 6 3-pointers, and he's just one shy of tying the single-season school record set during the 2001 to 2002 season. Now, he can break that record against his former team.
Certainly there will be emotions. He had 2 really good years at Iowa, and I'm sure a lot of things will be going through his mind, but once that ball goes up, all that stuff will go out the window, and it's all about going out and doing the things that have made him one of the top players in our league to this point in the season.
Nebraska will be looking for its 7th Big Ten road win of the season against Iowa. Huskers haven't won more than 5 since joining the Big 6 conference in 1928. Tonight's game tips off at 8 p.m. and will be broadcast on the Big Ten Network. And wrapping things up with quite a remarkable story for you for our 6th story. In January, 25-year-old Taryn Smith of Nebraska became the first American woman to row solo in the world's toughest row across the Atlantic Ocean. During this voyage, the yoga instructor shared glimpses of her journey and resilience with more than 600,000 followers online. Taryn Smith rode 3,000 miles for 46 days, 3 hours, and 37 minutes.
I hope the next generation of athletes see that they can do anything they want, anything they set their minds to. I'm not an ultra athlete, I'm not an elite athlete, I'm not an Olympic rower, and great things are still possible.
Now, she learned how to sail from her grandparents at Branch Oak Lake in Lancaster County and at Johnson Lake southwest of Lexington. To train for the Atlantic waves, Taryn traveled to England 3 times to learn everything she needed to know. She also spent 7 weeks living on her boat, which she named after the French phrase for "let's go." More training happened in her living room and braving those storms to get this amazing accomplishment done. There's more on this story from our own 1011 Grace McDonald's that you can go see and find over on our website, 1011now.com. Be sure to go check this full story out. Absolutely remarkable accomplishment over here. Now, before we toss it back over to our 7-day forecast, that's where my mic will turn off. Just want to continue to keep you updated on the LFR fire situation in North Lincoln. Right now, no new updates, but just to reaffirm what we know so far. Again, that fire is around Huntington Avenue and North 47th Street, so be sure to just not be around the area. And it's an unattended fire pit that's being worked on. So we'll continue to keep you updated here at 1011 Now as we work to learn more. But now, here's a look at your 7-day forecast before we toss things over to Brandon Rector with more.
Good Tuesday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. We are going to see variable cloudiness today. It will be windy this afternoon with winds out of the west, southwest, and south at 20 to 35 with gusts up to 50 miles per hour possible. Combine those strong winds with low relative humidity and warm temperatures. Critical fire weather conditions are in place, so a red flag warning in effect from noon until 8 p.m. for much of Nebraska. There is a 30% chance of scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms in central and eastern Nebraska late afternoon to mid-evening. Temperatures at noon in the mid-50s to around 70. At 4, mid-50s to mid-70s. Many locations in central and eastern Nebraska could set a new record high temperature this afternoon. And at 8, our temperatures in the low 40s to low 60s. In Lincoln, we warm up into the mid-70s this afternoon. Record high of 76 possible for today.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.